organisation pushes fear and tragedies to further its own agenda.
We know now that the next crisis is already waiting for us around the corner.
This is an organisation that profits from famine and disease, known as the World Economic Forum. The book, The Great Reset, outlines 5 pillars of civilization that need to be reimagined for the desired world in the eyes of this one man, Klaus Schwab, the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum. Henry Kissinger was also Klaus Schwab's mentor, where a CIA-funded course run by Henry at Harvard was where the birth of the World Economic Forum came from.
Yes, there was one course, one seminar of Henry Kissinger.
It's embedded in every aspect of our lives. The World Economic Forum hosts annual meetings since 1971. The richest and most influential names and faces gather in Davos, Switzerland. What lies in the future of our world? I hope to answer these questions for you during this series and give you the facts and knowledge in order to resist this creeping, radical globalism.
When it was first published in 2016, the fourth industrial revolution made the case that technology and digitization will revolutionize everything.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
Making the overused and often ill-used adage, this time is different. Simply put, major technology innovations are on the brink of fueling momentous change throughout the world. In the 4 short years since, technology progressed and moved impressively fast. AI is now all around us, from drones and voice recognition to virtual assistants and translation software.
Where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned, we don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
Our mobile devices have become a permanent and integral part of our personal and professional lives, helping us on many different fronts, anticipations, our needs, listening to us and locating us, even when asked not to do so.
Klaus Schwab's vision of a great reset is not one single idea, but rather a series of different resets on both macro and micro scales. One of the major areas of society that has been shifted by the COVID-19 pandemic, according to Schwab, is the way humans use and interact with technology through what is called the technological reset. Advanced technologies only previously imagined through science fiction, and which have the power to enlighten or enslave humanity on levels harder to even comprehend. The frightening thing about this is that it already exists, or it's in development.
So it reminds us in our preliminary thinking about this of issues of ownership over what you have in your body and the ways in which our bodies through this technology will extend to machinery, certainly, but also extend potentially to machines that exist outside the confines of our bodies.
As society becomes more immersed in technology through the Internet of Things. The rapid changes we are witnessing are commonly referred to as the Fourth Industrial Revolution, a term popularized by Schwab in 2015. Innovations that were designed to make our lives easier, or as a means to switch off after a long day at work, have slowly been transformed into a way of keeping us depressed, distracted, and misinformed, or worse, used as a tool to eradicate our self-identity.
One of the things that I think is so essential to free and open societies is freedom of thought. And up until now, the conversation we've been having is around freedom of speech. Once we can access people's thoughts and access people's emotion, we have to create a space that enables people to think freely, to think divergent thoughts, to think creative thoughts. And in a society where people fear having those thoughts, the likelihood of being able to enjoy progress is significantly diminished.
While there is no doubt that the progress of technology has created an irreversible avenue of prosperity, success in health, communication, and expression, its uses can also be gatekept by unelected individuals and organizations.
It was originated here. So that was child, if I may say so. And we have many children.
These gatekeepers then have the ability to hinder or enhance the introduction of new technologies, controlling not only when and what is released to the public, but also where and how we consume content, including news, information, and entertainment.
Prime Minister Trudeau said we penetrate the cabinets. Half of this cabinet, or even more, half of this cabinet, are for our actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
As we consume increasing amounts and various sources of information online and around us, we need to continue to be attentive to source. We need to continue to be attentive to comparing various reports and looking for trusted sources.
And when you see those messages, remember that unless you hear it from us, it is not the truth.
The World Economic Forum has been the catalyst for not just technological advancement, but the reformation of how this sort of technology is used in our lives. Through programs it runs for individuals, along with partnerships, it consolidates with businesses and nations. The WEF plays an important role in shaping the future as we know it. The merger between man and machine is on our horizon, and some would even say it's already in play. But what this means for humanity is entirely unclear. In the past, humans have used technology to improve our living conditions, from creating better ways of farming, manufacturing, traveling, and communicating. Our tools have largely been external devices outside of our bodies that are used to enhance the human experience.
I think it will go, first of all, it will definitely happen. I was talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual kind of the most common interface. Wow. Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
Now, however, through the usage of technological implants, we are on the cusp of potentially redefining what it even means to be human.
Inside our own heads is the most complex arrangement of matter in the known universe.
You might ask yourself, can we get to be superhumans?
Elon Musk, the world's richest man and owner of numerous tech businesses, was listed in 2008 as one of the forum's young global leaders.
Today, our computers, phones, applications give us superhuman capability. So as the old maxim says, like, if you can't beat him, join him.
Through his many projects, Musk serves as a proponent in the development of several types of advanced technology, none more impactful on individual humans than Neuralink.
The chip is designed to read and write brain activity and could potentially aid patients with neurological diseases like Alzheimer's. Musk has referred to the device as a Fitbit in your skull, claiming it will one day give people telepathic powers.
Neuralink is a startup project spearheaded by Musk that is developing a cerebral implant which would effectively allow a computer to become an extension of the human brain. While the initial goal of neurotechnology is to improve the lives of those suffering from ailments like epilepsy, Parkinson's, or Alzheimer's, it's easy to see how this technology could flow from limited medical use to widespread adoption by consumers. With technology like Neuralink, us humans could have the ability to operate our smartphones and computers with our minds. Ironically, Musk has warned in the past of where this type of technology could take humanity. Perhaps this is even what pushed him to try and create it first.
Because if one company or small group of people manages to develop godlike digital superintelligence, they could take over the world.
Born in South Africa in 1971, Musk moved to Canada at the age of 17, before moving again to California in 1995, where he would start his first business alongside his brother. After launching a second company, Musk's business eventually merged with another Silicon Valley-based company called Cofinity, eventually evolving into the widely popular digital currency transfer site, PayPal. In the present day, PayPal has become a financial service provider that will deplatform individuals and companies that don't adhere to a particular narrative through a partnership with the Southern Poverty Law Center. And obviously, PayPal's current business practices are out of Musk's control. But where things become odd is with Musk's grandfather, Joshua Haldeman. Haldeman was a member of an organization called Technocracy Incorporated. This organization was made up of scientists who believed that all politicians and businessmen needed to be outcasted from the world, deplatformed from their place in society, and replaced with engineers and other experts who would then create a technocratic utopia.
Now, if North America is where we start, how should we start?
There would be no more nation states, no more money, and no more leaders, just the technocracy. And so, in the eyes of Technocracy Incorporated, the world would be unified under a new name, Technate.
Social change is due on this continent. Social change is coming whether you like it or not. Social change is coming whether you are prepared for it or not. And technocracy is the means by which you can prepare yourself so that you can decide whether you want science or chaos.
At the time, Musk's grandfather was even charged under the National Defense Act because this radical group was banned from the country. Now, a technocratic one-world government isn't something Elon Musk speaks about, especially when he talks about his vision for the Earth. But on the subject of Mars, it's a different story.
Trying to do good things and you're a billionaire. I mean, yeah, that seems a little bit like either superhero or supervillain. You have to choose one.
Trying to do useful things?
This is an important point, because although Musk is viewed as somewhat of a hero, by people on all sides of the political spectrum, it's dangerous to universally trust a person in his position of power, especially given the influence from his grandfather.
My grandfather moved with all his kids and my mom and everyone to South Africa because he wanted to use it as a base of exploration.
You fast forward to now, Musk is critical of the World Economic Forum, despite sharing an overwhelming majority of their views and visions. Because of this, we must ask ourselves, is it possible for an individual or group to radically change the world? The answer is simply yes, and Musk wields the power to do it. He could even be doing it right now as we speak.
You are, not to put too fine a point on it, the richest man in the history of the world and arguably the most influential. When you say take the red pill, do you worry about sending none too bad?
I said take both pills.
Take both. Well, that's okay. All right.
If we accept that someone like Musk can wield this sort of influence, is it then unreasonable to believe a group with more power and more influence could be orchestrating society along the same lines of what Musk's grandfather envisioned, especially when they say it themselves?
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants.
We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
If there is just one thing that this is shared between people across the world, it is the reality of human existence. Although we may squabble over disagreements, the collective human experience is something that we all have in common and experience through our senses.
And humans really don't know themselves very well. This is why algorithms have a real chance of getting to know ourselves better. We don't really know ourselves.
But with technology advancing beyond computers and smartphones, even what we define as reality could now be on the verge of change.
Good two-way communication system, direct communication system between brains and computers, this is kind of the watershed moment. I mean, once you have a good two-way, nobody has any idea what happens after that.
In recent years, the World Economic Forum has turned its focus towards striving to replicate the human experience digitally. Perhaps no individual is at the frontier of this technology than one of the forum's young global leaders, Mark Zuckerberg.
Hey, and welcome to Connect. Today, we're going to talk about the metaverse, starting with the most important experience of all, connecting with people. Imagine you put on your glasses or headset and you're instantly in your home space, and it has an incredibly inspiring view of whatever you find most beautiful.
Zuckerberg, the CEO of Meta Platforms, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, has excelled in the virtual reality market. A new major initiative from Zuckerberg's company has been the creation of the metaverse, an ambitious undertaking that showcases new experiences in an all-digital environment. after Zuckerberg purchased Oculus, a company that specializes in virtual reality gaming, he planned to make an affordable headset that everyday consumers could have in their homes.
Be able to take your items and project them into the physical world as holograms in augmented reality too.
Although this technology is still in its early stages of development, there are already around 60,000 people who spend hours each day escaping into this digital realm.
For the next week, I'm going to be eating, sleeping, working, and playing in virtual reality. Starting now.
Horizon Worlds, a free virtual reality video game created by Meta Platforms that runs on the Oculus headset, reportedly saw a 10-fold increase in users in 3 months after an ad aired during the Super Bowl, bringing its total user base to 300,000. Zuckerberg described the game as a core to our metaverse vision. While our society is a long way from fully transitioning from the real world to the digital world, global consulting firm McKinsey estimates that the metaverse could present a multi-trillion-dollar business opportunity in the years ahead. It might surprise you to know that much like in the real world, plots of land can be purchased in the metaverse, with prices ranging from a few thousand to more than $2 million.
COVID-19 has irrevocably changed our world. So many of us had to learn how to live differently, to learn how to work, socialize, shop, and collaborate differently. And we are doing all of this online.
But VR isn't the only way to experience an altered reality. A similar scenario is well on its way through another type of technology, known as augmented reality. The WEF states that 3.7 billion people are offline, most of whom live in undeveloped countries that don't have the means to connect themselves to the rest of the world. Making VR and AR accepted into the mainstream would, in the World Economic Forum's vision, be the best way to provide, and I quote, technology for sectors such as education, mining, and tourism, all of which were effectively shut down during the current COVID-19 pandemic. These digital realities are in fact mainstream in Western culture, yet not quite as prevalent as the WEF would like. While most people use augmented reality for gaming, which in many cases is just harmless interactive fun, the WEF is looking to bring this technology into our schools, or rather, bring our schools to us.
I think any of this going in, and then when I saw it, everything was really nice, and it was actually such a good experience to see this.
It's actually so real.
All right, you want to look to your right a little bit, to your right, slowly, up, to your right, more to your right.
Oh, it's actually a ship.
Yeah.
Bringing artificial intelligence into education, which could then work in tandem with other advanced data collection techniques, enables not only our mannerisms to be analyzed, but also can allow an individual or organization to dissect almost every aspect of how we function, starting right from our youngest years.
The World Economic Forum develops a joint action plan together with the ITU, the World Bank, GSMA, and our industry partners. It highlights key immediate actions for private-public collaboration to ensure that digital connectivity is available and expanded to those who need it most.
Consider the implications of our own data being harvested right from when we can barely walk and talk.
all the way through our formative years and into our early adulthood.
This has already been shared with 170 countries and is in active use. This fast-track partnership is deeply encouraging. A number of our partners have highlighted that we have made more progress in the last 4 months than in the last 10 years.
In the case of the Great Reset, a broad expansion into classrooms will allow major corporations and governments that partner with the WEF to shape our educational system. In conjunction with AI monitoring every student who plugs in, the way virtual reality works, some parents may even have less of an idea of what is being taught to their children than they already do, while also being unaware of what information is being collected from their child's immersive experience and how this data is being used.
Where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned, we don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
But don't just take my word on potential harms of virtual reality in the classroom. Listen to the World Economic Forum say it themselves. While augmenting our bodies with technology changes how we define humanity, and recreating the human experience digitally changes how we define reality, these advances raise new ethical questions surrounding the possibilities of exploitation.
You know, the customer is always right. In the end, corporations say customers have free will. But once corporations and governments have the ability to hack humans, then there is no longer free will.
Conspiracy theories surrounding the use of microchips as implants have been around for decades.
Read articles about putting a little chip in with the vaccine.
So when the cameras, the 5G comes out, what? They're gonna scan everybody. We got to get scanned. All of you are practicing the devil's law.
We are not being injected with chips, is what I want. We are not being injected with chips.
And the naysayers are right. Microchips don't need to be planted in a person to monitor and track them.
Imagine the applications of that compliance, basically biological chip that it is in the tablet, and once you take the tablet and dissolves into your stomach, sends a signal that you took the tablet.
A chip in our brain or even under our skin, a technology that has existed since the late 90s, could allow access to our neurological pathways, making humans hackable.
Control of data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself.
Technology to access our brainwaves have been teased for years. From previously discussed Neuralink by Elon Musk to Mark Zuckerberg's version of a direct brain interface that strives to give us the ability to control digital devices with our mind. These developments aren't even limited to just modifying our brains, but also our vital organs. Like, for example, Bill Gates' contraceptive chip that received millions in funding back in 2014 and aims to use microchips to control fertility. If we assume that the highest level of technological advancement that humanity can achieve is altering what it even means to be human, or creating consciousness within our machines, this effectively amounts to humanity beginning to truly play God.
I mean, the big products of the coming century will not be shoes or clothes or cars or weapons. The big product of the 21st century are going to be bodies and minds. So I think we are heading towards the upgrading of Homo sapiens into gods.
Regardless of how you feel about religion, it is difficult to find a positive to humans. Flawed creatures that we are, flirting with the powers of the divine and potentially having the ability to gather our innermost thoughts, constantly monitor our behavior, or strip away the natural order of functioning organs.
Science is not really about truth, it's about power.
Meet Yuval Noah Harari.
So I'm a historian, but I'm a historian that defines history as the study not of the past, but as the study of change, which covers also the present and the future.
An author, historian, philosopher, and professor at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in Israel.
The most important things I'm working on right now is a children's book.
As an author, Harari has attracted some highly influential fans, including BBC radio host Simon Mayo, Captain American star Chris Evans, Microsoft founder Bill Gates, and the 44th US President Barack Obama. According to the World Economic Forum, Harari is an agenda contributor, serving as something of a historian turned prophet for the future the forum envisions.
Now, nuclear war and ecological collapse are already familiar threats, so let me spend some time explaining the less familiar threat posed by technological disruption.
While speaking at the forum's annual meeting, in 2018, Harari hosted a presentation titled, "Will the Future Be Human?"
Data about what I buy or where I go, but data about what is happening inside my body and inside my brain. Until today, nobody had the necessary computing power and the necessary data to hack humanity.
Through his writing and speeches he delivers around the world, Harari has plainly laid out his views.
For the first time in history, it's possible to completely eliminate privacy. It was just never possible before, and it is possible now. Something fundamental has changed. I mean, dictators always dreamt about completely eliminating privacy, monitoring everybody all the time and knowing everything you do, and not just everything you do, but even everything you think and everything you feel. They could never do it because it was technically impossible. Now it's possible.
One such opinion is that humanity is a post-truth species. Another is that for humanity is to be organized properly in society. Harari has suggested people need fictitious stories to bind us together, and that as species, humans prefer power to truth. From ancient and modern religions to fascist and democratic states, even down to Harry Potter books or Coca-Cola drinks, Harari believes that humans need mythical fabrications to unify us.
I think that fake news have been with us for thousands of years. Just think of the Bible.
But how can a society led by a small group of decision makers that is attempting to unite those under their influence with myths and falsehoods get even more people on board with their new vision?
We want to be a very transparent organization.
A quote from Harari gives some insight.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious new virus.
You cannot organize masses of people effectively without relying on some mythology.
China is urging its citizens not to travel abroad.
If you stick to unalloyed reality, few people will follow you. In fact, false stories have an intrinsic advantage over the truth when it comes to uniting people.
The city may have to temporarily bury bodies on public land if they run out of morgue space.
If you want to gauge group loyalty, requiring people to believe an absurdity is a far better test than asking them to believe the truth.
To go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump. Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
If all your neighbors believe the same outrageous tale, you can count on them to stand together in a time of crisis. If they are willing to believe only accredited facts, what does that prove?
Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people.
In addition to his writing, and outside of his involvement with the WEF, Harari is the co-founder of Sapienship, something defined as a social impact company, alongside his husband, Itzik Yahav. As an organization, Sapienship says it focuses attention on technological disruption, ecological collapse, and global conflict. This venture uses methods like storytelling to bring to light key issues, like the book Unstoppable Us, a fictional story for children, accompanied by learning materials for partner schools worldwide. Besides children's books, Harari's company also specializes in education, developing high school and university programs in order to help young adults be fit for employment and to teach critical thinking regarding global issues.
It was important for me to write to children.
Sapienship also generously donates to organizations to help further their ideology, including, unsurprisingly, a $1 million donation to the World Health Organization's COVID-19 Solidarity Fund, $300,000 to UNICEF Ukraine, and an undisclosed amount to sustainable investments. Although Sapienship doesn't specify how much money or which companies received their financial investments, the company is dedicated to innovations in animal-free products, including cultured meat and lab-grown milk. As an influential contributor at the World Economic Forum, Yuval Noah Harari knows there is a reluctance and skepticism from the public to adopt this highly digitized future.
Completely abandon organic stuff and create completely inorganic life forms. Whether this can be done or not is an open question. The biggest open question as yet, so far, in the life sciences, is the question of consciousness. We have no idea what consciousness is, what it does, how it emerges. The common assumption is that somehow the mind, consciousness, emerges from the brain, and if we hack the brain, and if we understand how billions of neurons create subjective experiences, then there should be no barrier for recreating these kinds of experiences based on silicon and not carbon, based on computers and not brains.
Another event at the WEF's 2018 annual meeting that Harari participated in was an interview-styled segment titled Questioning Our Human Future, where he infamously compared previous fascist governments to the upcoming technological reset.
I mean, previously in history, if you were on the wrong side of history, if you didn't understand what was happening and you lost the competition, then you ended up as some kind of serf or manual laborer, being exploited by the people who understand and have the power. Now, if you're left behind, you're facing something far worse, which is to be completely irrelevant. They won't even need you as a serf or as a slave.
His disregard for those who aren't interested in being hacked or tracked raises the question, what type of humanity is he trying to save? And from what exactly?
Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds. The IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud, these are the new driving forces of evolution. And at the same time, science may enable life after being confined for 4 billion years to the limited realm of organic compounds. Science may enable life to break out into the inorganic realm. You know, the whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. The moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century. How exactly will the future masters of the planet look like? This will be decided by the people who own the data. Now, why is data so important? It's important because we've reached the point when we can hack not just computers, we can hack human beings and other organisms.
The fourth industrial revolution, or in other words, the technological reset, has been in the works for decades, despite the term only being coined by Klaus Schwab in 2015. The players involved, whether directly or indirectly tied to the World Economic Forum, have a vital role in this realignment of life as we know it. Their predictions for the future of this world should be both a cause for concern and excitement. Society runs the risk of trading hard-won personal freedoms for high-tech entertainment and enhancement that can be turned against us.
The problem is more boredom and what to do with them and how will they find some sense of meaning in life when they are basically meaningless, worthless. My best guess at present is a combination of drugs and computer games as a solution for more. It's already happening in under different titles, different headings. You see more and more people spending more and more time or solving their inner problems with drugs and computer games.
In this episode, we've met some of the big names involved in this venture to redesign and reimagine the world as we know it. But what about the major corporations and governments alongside Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum? And how can the developments of the fourth industrial revolution be used against us? For the next episode, we will examine these questions and continue to dissect the technological reset. But for now, I hope that you have learned something about the rise and risk of technocratic globalism. In the meantime, it is important that you share this knowledge with others and help us keep rejecting, resisting, and exposing the Great Reset.